It is the final show of the season, final week of the Premier League. So, Joe, I guess to pick their Premier League team of the season. But there's 3 guests, so we're mixed up a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Robbie and James are going to pick their 11, go head-to-head with the suggestions. Any disagreement, Fuad, you're having the casting votes in the building. Let's start with goalkeeper.
Yep. Robbie, you'll be... Look, here you go.
Who have you got as well, Rob?
This will cheer you
I've
up.
got David Raya for me. I think, look, obviously there's other goalkeepers that have done well. Pickford, Sells has done well as well. Yeah. David Raya, I think, has been the best goalkeeper this year. And I think he's not in that pantheon of Alisson and Edison because of other things. I think like a few more seasons and trophies as well. But I think he's been outstanding this year. Really, really good. I think in terms of coming for crosses, like 12%, which is like the 3rd highest in Europe. Like I think the best in the Premier League. So he comes, he affects the game with his feet as well. I think he's been the best goalie this year.
Robbie?
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. I mean, watching him every week, he's been unbelievable, right? I mean, like you said, the way he comes and claims crosses, his distribution, and also the saves he's made. I mean, I was watching the game the other night, and I was thinking, whilst it weren't Anana's fault, that goal, right? But I was looking at it and thinking, Raya would have saved that. He would have clawed that out. He's very agile. He's just a really, really good keeper. And I think it is close between him and Sells, to be fair.
I think we've got to shout out Matt Sells. 3rd best save rate in the Premier League, 2nd best XG prevented, joint most clean sheets with Raya as well. So we've got to have Sells in the conversation.
With how Forest have been overperforming as well. He has been one of the key components. Obviously, Milinkovic and Murillo in front of him as well. They formed this almost like Bermuda Triangle.
Who would you have gone for?
I would have possibly gone for Matt Sells, but I think Raya's a solid pick as well.
I'd have thought you'd have gone for Vicario. As a matter of fact, ain't this going to be an all Spurs 11?
I
They're the best team in Europe, isn't it?
With all our injuries, we still walked away with a chance.
Can we just clip up Robbie saying they're the best team in Europe? Thank you, Jordan, our Arsenal producer.
No, well, I was just saying, you know what I mean? It looks like there'd be an all 11 of
Where's Raya
Spurs.
playing here? Sweeper keeper. Sweeper keeper.
Yeah, that's what he does, doesn't he?
He does do that.
Right back. Good shout, Jimbo. Been brilliant this season.
Obviously a different system, and it's been interesting this year. A few teams playing 3 and then those wing backs. I think earlier in the season we spoke with Neve and Ole Einar was the man who got the shout. But I think with Munoz, I think he's so iconic to that team, and in what they've done in the last few weeks and the stamina he shows, they aren't as good without him in the team, bombing up and down. So good. I think he's been amazing this year.
You love your Arsenal, Robbie? Is it an Arsenal player you've gone for?
You know, people are going to say I'm biased, but this guy's been absolutely amazing this season. Jurian Timber, right?
Timber's not having it.
I can't think of a better right back in the league. He's solid. Like, because Munoz, he's good getting up and down, and he's been we saw him in the cup final last week, but also it's not just about getting up and down. It's also about your defensive duties as well. And I think this guy, he has been brilliant this season, especially coming off the back of the previous season having an ACL injury. I think he's been fantastic.
Jimbo, your face is...
No, I think he's done brilliantly. He has done brilliantly. He's incredibly solid. And in what's been a season where there have been players missing, and he's had to sort of step in even when he's not been totally fit. I remember the Liverpool game. But up and down, an attacking threat in the second half of the season. From an attacking point of view, he is actually so important to that team, because if you don't have him going up there, Tyreek Mitchell's not really that same kind of player. So he has to get up and down and up and down. Ask any Palace fan, they will wax lyrical about this guy. I think he's been amazing.
And I think if you remember, for years they had Joel Ward, Nathaniel Klein, who you almost felt like they had grown beyond, and he has come in the past year or so and just been a different level. I think the cup final performance as well.
Yeah, it's unbelievable that.
Immense.
Yeah.
Immense for me. I would go Munoz.
Okay.
Although I do think Timber, the way he's replaced Ben White out of the side is...
We've got no chance in it with him here.
I need to be neutral, you know what I mean? I'm a winner, man.
Let us know in the comments.
Let's do both your centre-backs together. Both your centre-backs.
I'm guessing you both have Virgil van Dijk in here?
Yeah,
right?
Imperious makes players around him better, not just to the side of him. And Canate, I think, deserves a shout. He's been amazing this season, but also in front of him in terms of the midfielders as well. I think he's been outrageous this year.
Yeah, stick Van Dijk on.
Yeah, so Van Dijk goes on.
I've got Van Dijk as well.
And I think 2 good shouts for the other player as well. 2 players that have had good seasons. Robbie, do you want to...
I've got Gabriel.
Your team's been fully Arsenal so far, by the way.
Listen, it's not all Arsenal, but I've got Gabriel. Remember, Arsenal did come second in the league, so there is, and I think this guy has been absolutely brilliant this season.
Yeah.
It's only a shame that he picked up that injury that's kept him out since March, but he was our best player.
Yeah,
I feel this season between him and Raya. But I think he has been absolutely amazing, right? He scores goals as well. You know, how many set-piece goals
goals
has he
scored?
He scored about
3.
this
He
season?
scored
Was it 3 or 4?
three goals, 1 assist. Yeah,
Yeah.
Arsenal's win percentage with him.
How many's my boy got?
Yeah, but that's only because he's been injured since March.
So
The best
Gabriel's
ability is availability.
got 3 goals, 1 assist. In answer to your question, Milenkovic has got 5 goals, 2 assists.
Yeah, but he's played the whole season, and this guy's been injured. And
So he's played the whole season?
he was an No, he hasn't. He's been since March.
No, he's played the whole season.
But do we have to
played-
put a bit of props on the best defensive unit
So,
in the league?
look,
Go on, Jimbo.
again, in the video earlier in this season with Neve, I had Gabriel there, but as time has gone on, and Dean Huijsen deserves a shout here as well, by the
Definitely,
way.
Yeah.
He's been good.
And Dean Huijsen is a better player than Milinkovic, but Milinkovic, in terms of what they've looked to achieve and how they've played, big goals in big games, you go back and look at those goals, because it's low-scoring games, those goals are so important. In terms of being important to a team, Milinkovic has been absolutely crucial. Is he better? Absolutely. But Milinkovic, in terms of the importance to the team, I think you can't underestimate that. And Nottingham Forest have had an outrageous season. That's why I think Milinkovic
to go
deserves
from
it.
17th to where they are now, competing for European spots. I agree. I think Gabriel, prior to the injury, would have been a shoo-in.
I think if he
But
stays fit.
Milinkovic and Murillo, you can't understate their work. And I'm sorry, we can't have a 3 there without having one Forest player.
Enjoying it, Robbie.
Okay, so Fuad, it is your deciding vote.
Milinkovic goes in.
Love you, Fuad. Love you.
This
Fuad,
guy,
you enjoyed this show, haven't you?
I'm just trying to be a
you
neutral
lot
bit.
set me up
But
today.
to be fair, if he plays the whole season, I think Arsenal's season is different maybe a little
Yeah.
bit, but also he's in the team.
To be fair with Gabriel, Arsenal won 57% of their Premier League games with him playing and only 32% without him. I do agree, I think Gabriel's been brilliant. But Fuad gets the deciding vote. Let's move to left back. 2 good shouts here, actually. 2 very good shouts.
Here we go.
I've gone for Kirkes
Yeah.
at Bournemouth. I think he's been brilliant this season. I think, great defender. And also, the way he gets up and down the pitch, he's been absolutely amazing. So, Kirkes for me.
Yeah, I've gone for Anthony Robinson here. He's got the 6th most assists in the league. Like, not defenders. He's just got the 6th most. So, obviously, the most of a defender.
Yeah.
In terms of how Fulham have done this year, I think you kind of forget about him because the team's not in those European places now. But his stats are really good, both in terms of carrying the ball, defensively, interceptions in the top 3% in the league. His stats are really, really good. Kirkes, I think, from an eye test point of view, is probably more exciting overall. But Anthony Robinson is a huge, huge part of how Fulham play, and they have had a good season overall. It's tough.
I'm actually leaning towards Kirkes with this one. I think Kirkes has been immense. He is guaranteed going to get a huge move this summer. I do think Robinson is probably due one as well, but I would say in the first half of the season, he probably started off blistering and maybe tailed off a little bit in the second half. I think Kirkes is a special, special player, man.
I can
Yeah,
understand
Kirkes.
that.
Go
Fair enough.
Kirkes then, and then we'll move. I think you've got an agreement in the defensive midfield role in the sort of number 6 position. So you've both got Ryan Gravenberch.
Yeah.
Shoe-in?
I think people forget how much of a shock it was, how good he was in the first half of the season. And when you're doing a team of the season, it's easy to get caught
agree with
with
that.
the sort of recency bias. And now we're used to Gravenberch being in the middle, being kind of left alone at different times, but progressing the ball really well. Those overall stats of goals and assists, that's not what he's there for, but I think he's been outstanding.
Yeah, an integral part of that's a Liverpool team. They won the league. He was there practically the whole season. He was brilliant. Yeah, that's one of Slot's biggest achievements is getting the best out of him. I thought he was exceptional.
Okay, so let's stick him up. He's a tap-in. Next up, I think there's some disagreement for your next midfielder.
There's quite a few players in the mix, I feel, these areas. Obviously, we'll come to the attacking areas. I think there's some tap-ins, but this is an interesting...
Tielemans versus McAllister. So you don't have McAllister, Jim.
You don't have McAllister, Jimbo?
I don't, because, and I can't remember if later in the show I might be talking about him, maybe not, but it was between those two. The thing with Tielemans for me is that he's played 50-odd games, and I think the reliance on him has been so high, and I've just been incredibly impressed by Aston Villa overall. FA Cup semi-finals, going into the last game of the season, obviously we don't know what's going to happen, but could still get Champions League football. The Champions League itself, I think he's been brilliant, and he's played in so many different positions. He's so complete. Top 2% for through balls, successful through balls. I love a through ball. And I think he's slept on. And I think he's going to be a future captain for Villa as well.
You go, Macca.
I think this guy's been exceptional. I mean, he's been one of the signings that Liverpool have made that's been absolutely brilliant. He's had a brilliant season. And again, they won the league. And he was that midfield with him and Gravenberch in it was so important. People were saying that Liverpool are going to lack creativity. He brings creativity, he brings energy, he's intelligent, he scores goals. I just think he's been brilliant.
This is probably the toughest one, because I think Yuri Tielemans is like a model of consistency this year. But I think even a few weeks ago, I was doing the top 10, and I remember I left McAllister out, but kept Tielemans in. And I remember the Liverpool fans, the way they reacted. And I was like, you know what? It's the typical thing that happens with McAllister, though. He's so consistently an 8 out of 10 that you almost just normalise it. And he's such a quality player. Jack of all trades, master of all, I always say. I'm going to go with McAllister.
Do you know what, if you speak to a lot of Liverpool fans that I've spoken to when you ask about that midfield three, because that has been an integral part of why they've won the league, particularly with what the narrative was pre-season about they need to sign a midfielder. But a lot of Liverpool fans say that that's been a key part of them winning the league. A lot of Liverpool fans, if you ask them who's been their most important midfielder or best midfielder this season, say McAllister.
And it's a different type of midfield to what Klopp had with the Wijnaldum.
Good debate that one though.
Let's get him out.
Let's
get McAllister.
I'm okay with that. That's fine.
And then we'll talk about a third midfielder, because again, disagreement here. You've gone Declan Rice, Rob. Jimbo, you've gone for Morgan Rogers.
Yeah, I'm trying to cram certain players into my team.
No one got Gibbs White here. Gibbs White not worth it.
I think Gibbs White's had really good
Tonali
season.
or Bruno G.
Yeah,
I thought about those two. I thought about Tonali. I thought about Bruno G. Guimaraes as well. But listen, I'm going to go with my boy Declan Rice. I think he had a kind of a slowish start to the season. He played like practically every game, every England game. He came back a little bit tired. He had that broken toe, remember? But then after that, he's been exceptional for Arsenal. You know what I mean? I think in the league, in the Champions League, he's really shown that he's a world-class player, and he can do it. He can play anywhere in that midfield. The way he plays, you know what I mean? He could play as a sort of more deeper. But this season, playing in that sort of box-to-box role, scoring goals, recovery runs. Honestly, he's so good. He's one player that deserves in the future to win a league, because he is that good.
Yeah, I've got a very different kind of profile here, because I'm trying to get him in the team and someone else.
He's played more as a winger though, Rogers.
Yeah, he has, but he's played at 10 at different times. And in terms of in transition, I kind of see him in that central area a lot of the time in terms of getting the ball and moving. Breakthrough season for him. 18 goal involvements this year. And again, at the start of the season, I don't think anyone would have spoken about Morgan Rogers at all.
You know what, right? I remember when we played him at the start of the season, right? When you say that, right? And he was like doing these runs through me. I was like, who's this?
Yeah.
Who's this guy? You know what I mean? Like, he is a great player, but I didn't go for him because he's played predominantly out wide. And not
he
in
steps
the
into that
midfield.
situation. I'm just trying to crowbar
players.
into it. Very, very different players. You have shunned the Aston Villa fans once already in this team of the year. Up to you, Fuad. Up to you, mate.
Listen, I think Declan Rice is a great shout in terms of second half, how he's woken up. I think Rodgers throughout the entire season. I mean, the best example of that is this celebration. He's pretty much took it back off Cole Palmer this season. He's been doing it in the Champions League. He's been doing it in multiple stages throughout the season. He has been a different calibre of player for me since joining in January last year. I would go Morgan Rogers.
Notice people, every time it's an Arsenal player.
But that's because everybody who plays is an Arsenal player.
It's like, what?
I haven't just gone Arsenal player. It's a Gravenberch, McAllister, all those
Next
players.
up, right wing, you've gone
Van Dijk.
Salah, you've gone with the Arsenal kit man, have you?
No, it's another Arsenal player.
Yeah, the set piece coach.
Saka. No, it's
Got to be.
got to be Salah, innit?
Biggest tap in.
Sure.
Yeah, about 46 goal involvements.
Absolutely ridiculous.
What more is there to say? I feel like we speak about him, we glow about him every week on the show.
So
What more can you
Let's
say?
think about.
he's unreal.
Yeah.
He's unreal.
Let's talk about the striker spot then, because although you've got an agreement here, I think, is it worth mentioning Chris Wood?
It's
Yeah,
absolutely
definitely,
worth
definitely.
mentioning Chris.
I know that Isaac is the obvious one. You've both gone for Alexander Isaac, but
Yeah.
I just want to shout him out because, like, Wood season just.
Yeah, it's a joke.
Unbelievable.
Was it? Has he scored 20 goals in and his
Yeah.
XG's
20 goals.
12?
Yeah.
His XG's 12. That's just
Yeah, he's been
ridiculous.
brilliant.
Fourth top
Yeah.
scorer in the Premier League, Chris Wood.
Yeah, I think the problem with these team of the year sometimes it's like you're wanting to kind of crowbar like certain players because ideally it'd be great to see a 4-4-2 with Isak and Chris Wood in it, but you got to get Salah in there as well. So because of that, I kind of moved it around a little bit. And Isak has he taken the crown from Haaland in terms of being the best Premier League striker?
Do you think so?
I think it's close. It's closer than it was.
In terms
This
of
season,
performances,
yes.
hard to argue, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
This season, I mean, I was going to try and get Mikel Merino in there, but then I knew Fuad was coming to. Nah. Nah, listen, this guy is unbelievable, man. We were on the end of him a couple of times, man.
Yeah.
He's got everything. right? And for this season, he has taken the crown. I mean, I think Haaland, let's remember, he's had injuries and stuff like that, so he'll be back. But this season, Isak, sometimes unplayable.
Yeah.
Brilliant. He's just
But
got
what level do you think
occupying
we're talking
entire
about? Because there's a lot of clubs when you're looking at. I mean, it looks like he'll stay at Newcastle now with obviously European football and they've won a trophy and everything. But whenever a club's linked with strikers, we're always talking about the fact there's not many great strikers that are attainable with costs and everything.
Right.
What level do you think Isak can get to? How
I think
good
he's
are we talking
there,
about
mate.
here?
I think he's there now. Like he's staying fit, which was one of the few question marks. And I think when that is like the only question mark, you're not really questioning anything else. And that I'll sort of chuck up that debate of him and Haaland because maybe it's a stylistic thing in terms of what you're seeing with those two teams, but in terms of his hold-up play, the ability to spin with the ball, to link with other players, that the partnership with Jacob Murphy this year as well.
The range of
Even
finishes
Gordon.
as well, I would say, for Isak is unbelievable.
Yeah,
He scores like every type of goal. So
Yeah.
he's on the list. Last position.
Okay, left wing.
So,
This is a rogue one from you, Rob. Has he played there? Has he played there?
It's a bit of a rogue one, but somehow I had to get this guy in, man. He's been absolutely brilliant this season. Brian Mbeumo, underrated. What's he? 19 goals he's got this
19
season.
goals, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
7 assists as well, by the way.
at Brentford.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, he's got to be, I was kind of looking at it more like my front forwards players, right? And he has to be in there somehow. He's been brilliant.
You have
The
Brian Mbeumo over Visser?
That's the only thing I would say is if you're going to put in Mbeumo in,
Because this is more down the middle, though, isn't it? This is more played as the
Yeah.
actual striker. Although he's played many times as well.
Yeah.
That's the thing. He's versatile because he can play as a second striker as well. And he's a handful, man. And his
he's a
finishing's been brilliant.
Yeah,
He's,
he's
apart from
unbelievable.
last week, his penalty taking's been brilliant. And who talks about Ivan Toney? Remember when Ivan Toney left, we all thought that they're just gonna fall apart, goals-wise. I mean, him and Wissa, the two of them, but 19 goals. I mean,
Cunha, though, also.
I think, so
15 goals for Wolves.
That's it. And I think with him, the range of goals, the range of movement. Now I understand Wolves fans aren't, totally kind of thrilled with some of the elements of what he's shown this year, maybe off the pitch or
he's got
certain
discipline
words,
problems,
right?
hasn't he?
Yeah, but in terms of keeping the minute, I think no one scored more goals from losing situations. Obviously, he played for Wolves, so maybe there's more opportunity for that. But he's stepping up when the team needs a goal. He's created 13 big chances and only got 5 assists, something like that. So he's been alone a little bit there from an attacking point of view in terms of getting on the ball and scoring himself, and the ability to score, to drive into the box, but to score goals from outside the box. The way he strikes the ball. His ability to progress the team up the pitch as well in some really dark times for them. I think his potential is really, really high. I think he's had an incredible season.
Need a decision for Ed?
I think I'm going to go Cunha just because he doesn't have any running mates over there. You remember last year Hwang was up there with him. This year he's at least got Wissa with him.
Stick him up then, Jimbo.
probably more of his
There is
natural
confirmation.
All right, there we go. So there is confirmation of James and Robbie's team of the season, represented by Flav, basically, chosen by Flav. Some really good picks there. What do you think of it at home? Let us know.